Hey everyone, hope you all are doing well. Welcome back on our channel Plain-UPSKILL. Currently, we are going forth with a reasoning list, which is the series of tackling reasoning types of questions that we have often faced but still had a low confidence to solve on. We have completed two categories in this list until now, that is counting figures and repeating series types of questions. So if you haven't watched those videos yet, link is given in the I button, so make sure you check them out as well after watching this video, because from today we are going to start with a new topic and learn few calendar tricks. So without further ado, let's start with the video. Before jumping on to learning how to solve these calendar questions, let us just revise few basic concepts about the calendars. As you can see, here are the basic details of the calendar. As we all know, one week consists of 7 days. In one general year, there are 365 days present in it, which means there are 52 weeks and one odd day present in that year. Odd days are just extra days present in the year. So in one general year, there is one odd day present. In the leap year, there are 52 weeks and 2 odd days. In an ordinary year, February has 28 days and leap year has 29 days. Now, keeping all these in mind, we are now going to memorize some codes allotted to days, months and years in order to solve the calendar questions more faster and in more time efficient way. Pause the video right now and take a look at these codes allotted in front of your screen. In days format, the codes are allotted from 0 to 6, starting from Sunday till Saturday. In the years format, we start with the year 1600 and go till 2300. Keep in mind, the years in the range of 1600 and 2000, they all are given a code of 6, which means any year, for example, the year 1658 or 2030 will have the code 6 because those fall under the years 1600 and year 2000 category. Similarly, the years falling in 1700 and 2100 range will have the code 4, 1800 and 2200 years will have code 2, and 1900 and 2300 years will have the code 0. And finally, the month code are allotted from Jan to December as 033 614 625 035. If you find it harder to memorize the month codes, then use this trick in order to memorize it faster. Divide the months in groups of 3, like Jan to March, April to June, July to September, and October to December. Compare the first and the last group, that is Jan to March group with October to December group. The first 3 codes are 033 and the last 3 are 035. Well, if we compare it like this, then just by adding 2 in 33, we get the last 3 codes. So the first and last group of codes are memorized very easily. Now let's take a look at the mid 2 groups, that is April to June and July to September. The April to June code reads as 614, whereas July to September reads as 625. Here too, if we keep the 6 same and increase 1 digit in the later 2 numbers, like in 614, if we keep the 6 as it is and add 1 in the remaining 2 numbers, that is 1 and 4, we get the code for the third group of months, that is July to September. Thus, in this way, you can easily memorize the entire month's codes. Also, remember this, in case you encounter a question involving leap year, then in that case, the codes allotted to January and February months will slightly change. That is, the code for January then will become 6 and for February it will become 2, and the rest of the codes will remain as it is. So please keep in mind, in case you encounter a general year, then this code series will be followed, and in case you encounter a leap year, then this series of code will be followed. Also, we are going to see what will happen in case we try to encounter the leap year problems using our general year codes. This is going to get very interesting, so stay tuned for this part, as many of us face problems due to this issue. You can pause the video now if you want to memorize all these codes right now, and when you're ready, continue with the video. Okay, before proceeding further, I just need to clarify one more thing. As we all know that in order to find a leap year, we divide the given year with 4, and if the remainder comes as 0, then that year is considered as a leap year. But in case of the century years, that is years like 1600, 1700, 1800 and so, you also have to check the divisibility by 400, because let's say we have 2 century years, that is 1600 and 1700. In case of 1600, we know that 1600 is a leap year because it is divisible by 4 and 400, but not in the case of the 1700th year, because as we divide 1700 by 400, we don't get the remainder as 0, and thus 1700 is not a leap year. So keep this in mind. For determining whether the century year is a leap year or not, you must divide the year with 4 and 400 as well. Now with all these concepts refreshed, let's turn towards the formula that is going to help us in solving the calendar questions. And this is a prime formula. Date plus year plus quotient plus MC plus YC whole divided by 7. The date here belongs to the number that will be given in the question. Year represents the last 2 digits of the given year in the question. Quotient means the whole number that we get after we divide the given 4-digit year by 4. MC is the month code and YC is the year code. Also note that we are dividing by 7 because in a week there are 7 days present, and in order to calculate the day on which our given date will fall on, we need to divide by 7. And after this division, whatever remainder we get, that would help us in calculating what day would it be on the given date. So now after taking a look at the formula, let's try to solve some questions and get more understanding of this formula. So now let's try to calculate what was the day on the date 26th January 1947. Pause the video to give it a try by yourself. When you're ready, come back again. Okay, so now let's try to solve this problem. So first, always check whether the given year is a leap year or not. In this case, 26th January 1947 is not a leap year. So we first confirm that the month codes for January and February will be 03 and not 62 as they would have been in the case of a leap year. So now let's proceed further with our given formula. So first, we substitute the date given to us, that is 26. Second, the value of year will be the last 2 digits of the given year, that is 47. Then the quotient. We will get the quotient by dividing 47 by 4, and here in this case we get the quotient as 11. We substitute 11 in our formula. Now we need to substitute the month code, and as we know 1947 is not a leap year, that's why the month code for January will be 0. Finally, the year code. 1947 falls in the category of 1900 till 1999, and the year code for it will be 0. So here also the year code will be 0. After summing the numerator, we divide it by 7 and we get 84 by 7, which is equal to 0. Remember, we are writing the remainder here and not the quotient, because the remainder is the one that we are interested in. Now we got the remainder as 0, and now we try to remember the days codes, and we know that 0 was the code for Sunday, and thus 26th January 1947 was falling on Sunday. You can check in the actual calendar if you want. Your answer is definitely going to match. Let's take one more example of this type. On which day of the week does 8th October 2016 fall on? Pause the video to give it a try by yourself. The rest, continue with the video. So first we check whether the given year is a leap year or not. In this case, 2016 is completely divisible by 4. So 2016 was a leap year. But if we take a look at the month asked here is October. And we know, in case of a leap year, only the codes for January and February change and the rest of the codes remain same. So here, we don't have to panic about the change of codes. Now, as per our formula, we substitute the date, that is 8th. In place of year, we substitute last 2 digits of the given year. Here, we put 16. For the quotient, we divide 16 by 4. and we get 4 as a quotient. The month code, we know the month code for October is 0, so we substitute 0 here. For the year code, 2016 falls under 2000 till 2099 category, so here the year code will be 6. So after the summation of numerator, we get 34 divided by 7 and we get the remainder as 6. And as we recall code for days, 6 is associated with the day Saturday, and thus 8th October 2016 falls on Saturday. Give it a check in your calendar, this answer is perfect. Let's take one more example of a leap year. So let's try to find out on which day of the week does 13th January 2008 fell on. According to our formula, we have the date as 13th, year as 08, quotient, we divide 08 by 4 and we get the quotient as 2. The month code, now here 2008 is a leap year. So in case of a leap year, the month code for January is 6. And finally, the year code in this case will also be 6. So substituting all these values in the formula, we get 13 plus 8 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6 whole divided by 7, which gives us 35 upon 7, and we get the remainder as 0. And according to our days codes, 0 is the code for Sunday, and thus 13th January 2008 falls on Sunday. If you check in the calendar, you will also get the same day. So our answer is correct in this case. So this was the method where we used a modified version of the codes in order to solve the leap year questions. Now let's try to solve the same leap year question using our general year codes. Let's see what happens in that case. So according to our formula, the date, year and quotient will be same, that is 13, 8 and 2. But in case of the month code, it will change from 0 to 6, because in a general year, the code for January is 0. And finally, the year code will also remain same as 6. So now, when we substitute these values in the formula, we get 13 plus 8 plus 2 plus 0 plus 6 divided by 7, which is equal to 29 by 7, and this time we get the remainder as 1. And when we check the code for the days, 1 is associated with Monday. But this is not matching with a correct answer. Instead, we are getting one additional day in this process. So remember, if you are following the general year codes in order to solve the leap year questions, then you must subtract 1 from your final answer. That is, in this case, when we use the general year codes, we got the remainder as 1, and we must subtract 1 from a remainder to get the correct answer. So 1 minus 1 equals 0, and 0 is the associated code with the day Sunday. And now we get the correct answer. So remember, whenever you encounter a leap year and you are using general year codes to solve that question, you must always subtract 1 from your final answer in order to get the correct answer. And this will happen only in the case if the given month is January or February. But for the rest of the months from March till December, you do not need to subtract 1 in this case. It is so because due to addition of one more day in February, you see an addition of one more day in this case. So in order to remember it easily, just compare our given month code tables. You can clearly see that the codes from March till December remain same in both the cases. Only the codes for January and February change in the cases for general year and the leap year. So beware of the methods that you're using in order to tackle those questions. Let's take one more example in order to understand both the techniques more clearly. So now let's try to find out on which day of the week does 22nd February 1964 falls on. So first, we solve this question using our leap year codes. So according to our given data, date is equal to 22, year is 64, quotient, we divide 64 by 4 and we get the quotient as 16. Month code, in case of a leap year coding, February has the code of 2. And finally, the year code in this case will be 0. So when we substitute all these values in a formula, we get 22 plus 64 plus 16 plus 2 plus 0 whole divided by 7, which is equal to 104 by 7, and we get the remainder as 6. And thus, 22nd February 1964 falls on Saturday. As we use the leap year coding, we did not need to subtract 1 in this case. Now let's take a look at the general year coding method. Here, date, year and question will be same in this case, that is 22, 64 and 16 respectively. But the month code for February in general year coding system will be 3 here. And finally the year code will be 0 again. So this time when we sum up the numerator, we get the total of 105 upon 7. And thus this time we get the remainder as 0. But as we know, this system gives us one additional day in cases of January and February. So we need to subtract 1 day from a final answer. And thus, as 0 is associated with Sunday, we subtract 1 day from it and we land upon Saturday. And thus, we land on a correct answer, that is Saturday. And with this example, we finally clear a confusion whether we need to subtract 1 from a final answer or not. So remember both these techniques, they both will come in handy at the time of your need. And finally, after tackling these January and February month questions, if you want to see how rest of the month's questions can be tackled, then let's take final example of today's video. Let's try to calculate the day of the week on which 25th April 1972 fell on. Here we have the date as 25, year 72, quotient will be 72 divided by 4, which we will get as 18. The month code for April is 6 and the year code will be 0 again. So when we put all these values in a formula, we get 25 plus 72 plus 18 plus 6 plus 0 whole divided by 7, which is equal to 121 by 7, and we get the remainder as 2. And we know 2 is associated with the day Tuesday, and thus 25th April 1972 fell on Tuesday. Now in this case we were asked about the month April, and when we compare both the year codes for April are same in both the cases. So thus it doesn't matter by which method you solve, the final answer is going to be same. These are also the same examples of this kind. If you want to try it by yourself, pick up any random dates and try this formula by yourself. You will always get the correct answer. And this is it everybody. Here we come at the end of this video. Thank you so much for sticking with me till end of this video. Make sure you practice few of these questions every now and then to keep these concepts up fresh. Comment down below if any of your confusions were solved in this video. Also, do not forget to hit that subscribe button in order to get notifications of my channel. Also hit that like button on your way out. It'll really boost my confidence and also help me with the YouTube algorithm. These questions aren't over yet. I'll meet you in the part 2 of the calendar questions. So make sure you're getting a good practice on these questions. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep upskilling. See ya.